That was fancy.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going, Gracie?
Good. Oh, it's going great.
So,
That-
Grace and my name is Morgan, and this is
Oh, I'm
Grace.
great.
And
Great.
we have wanted to start a YouTube channel for a while, so here we are doing it.
We're showing up.
Yep. And so, Gracie, what are like when you think about what we want to do here and like what kind of conversations we want to have and what do we want to share, like what comes up for you?
We're talking about we're gonna be talking about leveling up. Times
Oh,
are over generally me and Morgan are gonna we're gonna talk future about leveling up. We're going to talk about how we got here for this first
yep,
little video.
yep.
But basically, our videos are going to be aligning you with your greater truth and with who you are. And we can just talk about how we got here in the first place. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I love leveling up. Like that is across the board right now throughout humanity and our consciousness. Like I feel that as a big thing, quantum leaping, I feel like is like the buzzword. Like let's go,
yes.
we're quantum leaping, but it's really happening for those who are like setting themselves up and
Yep.
positioning themselves for transformation.
Yeah.
And it's all about raising the vibration, raising our frequency, leveling up.
Yeah. And the universe is there's no more room left on this earth to be stuck in places where you don't belong. There's no more room for it.
Mm-mm.
We're crossing a point where everyone just has to be on the same page with who they are and what they're here to do. And that is different for everyone. We're not saying that everyone has the same, purpose here because that's not true. But the part where you are aligning to where you are going to be doing the highest and best work and being free while doing it, that's universal.
Yep.
That's universal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of it like we all have our own unique blueprint that we come into this life with, and every single one of them is uniquely different. Some of us are more similar than others. And then it is like our life's mission to fully align with the blueprint. And that means taking actions and towards that direction. It means cutting cords with everything that doesn't align with the blueprint. And it means
Yeah.
deeply connecting with yourself so that you can see and feel and understand why you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why are you here, Gracie?
I'm here to kick some shit. We're here to stir things up. I know I came in fiery, sassy. I was actually just talking to my grandmother and my mother the other day about when I was a baby and when strangers would be like, oh, come to me, Gracie. I'd be like, no, nope, I don't like your energy. We're not doing it. And immediately, because I knew when I was younger exactly who I was.
Mhm.
I was crossing shit out from the womb.
Mhm.
I came here kicking. Um, but I only recently started to have this mindset. Just I think it was actually when my parents got divorced. That was like my key to the door because
Yep.
I was uh very locked down with the energies in my household. And when my parents got divorced, like everything ripped the fuck open, man. It was like
Yeah.
this portal opened, and then all of my gifts just started like the universe was like, boom, it's go time. And my gifts just started, you know,
I love that.
happening. Um,
It's like the comfort is what keeps us and keeps us stuck sometimes. And you have to get into like discomfort triggers change.
yes, it does.
Hmm.
And severe discomfort. But for a while, like my parents' severe discomfort in, in breaking up and like, shattering the whole household, which I felt I was breaking free the household. Um, that discomfort is what brought me back into alignment. I kind of actually like I had a personality shift because I was able to um lock down. I'm using the word lock a lot. That's interesting. I don't really use
Hmm.
it a lot, but I was able to really lock down on my path again. And not that I wasn't. I truly believe everything is, in its place and as it should be. Um, but I definitely was I was locked. I was not open here. That's a
Okay.
big
Yep.
one. And when they divorced, I became open here and I started meeting people that were also open here.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I also started meditating.
Mm.
And that's a big part of me. A future thing that we're going to be talking about is um, astral projection, which
Hmm.
that is a whole different conversation, but a huge part of my life and how I level up or the downloads that I get through leveling up is through astral projection. And
When you say downloads, what do you mean?
downloads, that's a great question. Downloads are like coding that you get in a computer that you get in your human body that sets your system up to continue going. Like when your computer gets a new download, it's because there's a new system that's in your computer.
Hmm.
Now you're ready to access it. It's the same thing with our bodies. When we get downloads,
Hmm.
we get
So how do you get it? Like you have to be plugged in to get a download, right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Gotta be plugged in. You gotta get that spark. You gotta that's here. That's here. Morgan, do you want to talk about a download that you recently had?
A download that I had recently?
Um,
Which one?
I mean, there've been lots. You can talk about whatever one that
Um,
you.
oh,
One is about one that we were recently talking about is we're done being in the old mindset of brokenness.
right. Yeah. Of just like it is time to move into like wealth consciousness and abundance and overflow. But I mean, I'll speak to my like when I get downloads, they're dreams. Mine come through my dream world. And they always have. And when I was younger, I had a lot of really strong dreams, a lot of dreams that scared the shit out of me. And I didn't understand what they were trying to tell me, like why they were coming in. And I took my dreams very literally, which scared me out of dreaming, literally. I like lost connection with my dreams and remembering my dreams and bringing any kind of conscious awareness into my dreams out of fear. And but I had a dream recently. Well, this was like probably a year and a half ago. And the dream was to call the women, call the women. It was this voice saying, and it probably was it's my voice, like higher self, older, elder,
Oh
wise
yeah.
voice saying,
Yeah.
call the women, call the women, call the women. And I literally shot out of bed. It was like right at sunrise, just like she like shook me awake to call the women. And so I'd taken that very seriously. moving forward on my journey is I know that part of what I need to be doing, what I'm doing is calling the women. And so I've acted on that. But I think like there's one thing to get downloads, to get messages, and to get intuitive hits of knowing, of like people pop into your head, you get like some just very clear message, and then you have to act on it. If you don't act on it, it like wastes away and you don't continue. It's like clogging. It's kind of like clogging up the pipes or something.
Yes.
You got
Yes.
to take it and distribute it. It's like, okay, call the women. I am here to call the women. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
Wow.
so dreams.
Dreams are huge. And I
Hmm.
think we do take them quite literally because that's what we're taught in this materialistic world is to take things like literally straight on. I mean, we're taught that in school. Um,
Yep.
but also like um there are dreams that access um the codes and the callings like you have been having throughout your whole life, and there are also dreams that access your subconscious and what's going on
Yes.
there. And your dreams are really showing you the fuck what's going on in your life, what you're feeling, what
Hmm.
what you're wanting,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
or
When
what
I
has happened in your past.
Yeah, when I began my healing, like my healing journey, I would say I was doing a lot of therapy, a lot of like processing of past events in my life, and my dreams were all me getting chased. They were all I was dreaming about was getting chased. And it was like I was processing subconscious stuff though, and it needed to happen too. And also is a way, dreaming is a way of processing and releasing things out of your programming. It's like clearing the computer drive so that it's open for new
Yes,
experiences that look different than the ones you've had in the past.
literally.
Yeah, and it's why we see patterns repeat with family, like generationally through family lack mentality,
Yep.
abuse,
Yep.
because it's on your hard drive and it's normal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
how do we clear the hard drive? Like you can't do it just through your conscious mind.
Mm-mm.
And
Nope.
that's where meditation comes in. And so if yeah, Gracie, you want to talk a little about like meditation in your life and how it's
Yeah.
transformed things for
Yes.
you?
Yes. I want to elaborate on what you said though with because we can't access things with the conscious mind because our conscious mind is like this it's like this radio that is operating out of um your the systems that are already ingrained within you. The radio will pick them based off of um what your mom knows, what your grandmother knows. But um yeah, your conscious mind also acts out of fear,
Mm-hmm.
and it drives from the subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Um and we can't really access them because it's like there's this block, there's this door that needs a little key to get in there. Because we don't
Yes.
uh you can't just access your subconscious like consciously. You
Right.
have to put the key in there, unlock the door, and access that subconscious. And one way to do that is through astral projection,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll get on another. Well, I'll go deep into astral projection on another video, but
Mm-hmm.
basically, astral projection opens the door for you, but not only that, you get access to like the roadmap of life, is what I like to call it.
Mm-hmm.
You get access to your subconscious, you get access to answers, to your guides. I have literally, okay, and don't, like, I'm just putting this out there. I have talked to this medicine woman up there who told me some things, some specific things I needed to eat and do to clear some physical parasites that I had. And this is
Mm-hmm.
like this is like a this is a normal thing for me. Sounds a little woo.
The
It,
parasites are the conversations in,
oh, the
in the
conversation,
astral realm.
conversation
I know, I
in
know.
astral. Yeah, no, everyone has parasites, but we'll also talk about that later. Because they're food. LOL. Food. You can have energetic parasites. Oh God,
Mm-hmm.
that's also another thing we'll talk about in the future. But yeah, in the astral realm, you get access to your subconscious, and you are. It's like a Mario Kart game is how I like to describe it. When you're in the astral realm, they will give you a certain like, you know how in Mario Kart you have the different worlds, but you also have the, oh, what are they called? Little stepping points.
I don't know. I don't play.
I know,
I
not,
wasn't a video
oh,
gamer.
not Mario Kart. It was like the DS games where,
Mario jumped and stuff up the level, up the level, up
yes,
the
yes.
level.
He would cross this path, but to get to the next point, he had to get through the first one.
Right.
And in the astral, it's not just play and fun. There's a lot of work you have to do in the astral, and that's targeting your subconscious, because the divine won't just give you the answers. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this woman, she did, but
Mm-hmm.
for for getting out those parasites, she did give me some like specific answers of what I needed to do. But um the divine God, the universe, will not just like give you the answers on a platter. You kind of have to go through these trials, and when you pass the trials, you can level up to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
um
Yeah. Well, it's like back to the computer analogy is that you can't get a software update unless your computer has enough space for it. And like in that case, like like God consciousness, the divine isn't going to drop in something to you that you don't have
yep,
space for or that you're not in an energetic state. Like I think the word that I always use is coherence. Like you need to be balanced, you need to be open in certain centers, you need to be in a certain vibrational
yep,
um feeling state match in order to receive messages. So,
yes,
mhm.
and that's a big one. Because we also ask the question a lot, well, why isn't it just coming into my life right now? Why isn't this happening? Why isn't this happening? You might not have energetic space in your life for that to come in. That's a
Yeah.
whole thing in itself. Um,
Yes.
it's also the analogy of, you know, what are you holding on to that is, consuming that space inside you,
Yep.
that, you know, we all have those things that we're all, holding on to. But it's the people who ask the questions,
Mm-hmm.
who seek the answers, who get the answers. No one looks okay. Like it's like, no, like no one who, looks at a math test and doesn't care about the answers and just, puts A or puts B, and sometimes they get it right on mistake, but you're just carelessly going through, the test,
Yep.
you're not focused on the true actual answers, right? It's like if you're looking, what you're seeking, you will find.
Yep.
Um, and that space that you don't have can always be like, you can always find the answers as to why you don't have that space, but the inner reflection is what you need to do to get there.
Right. You have to be willing to look at yourself.
Yes.
In all of the things that are a little uncomfortable and often places we don't want to look is what needs to be seen. And I was just talking to a friend about this. Like, people don't want to change. I was saying this, people don't want to change. People don't want to grow, which is a huge assumption. And it's not the truth, but it's uncomfortable to change and it's uncomfortable to grow. Even if you're growing into the highest version of yourself, like your optimal blueprint, it is uncomfortable to get there for the most part. Then there's some really amazing things that happen that are like euphoric and absolutely comfortable.
Yes.
But to break down patterns and like see yourself truly, like look yourself in the eyes face to face and get real about what's going on for you, that shit is not comfortable.
No, it's not, because that takes accountability. And
So it was like, that was the discomfort is what also like triggered your transformation, right? Like the discomfort
yes.
of your parents' divorce
Yes.
began your journey.
Yes, 100%. But also it was the buildup of discomfort I had before their divorce.
Yes.
It was building, um because I didn't have space in my own household to look within. Um and so the divorce knocked everything down, and in the best way possible. I'm a little weird. I do really great in chaos. I did.
Yeah.
I just, it's always been a thing within my household. When everyone's like deranged and crazy, I'm like, la 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 la. Like, I am chilling. But it's also the opposite when everyone's
Right.
like high vibrational. I'm really like, I'm going through it, and like I
Yeah.
I'm going through it.
Yep.
And I think that's also just the dynamics, the balance of my household right now. Like, it, you have to have different um uh,
It's like a nervous system inside of the house, like all the individuals you're working together.
yes, there it is. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. That was perfect. It's like, um we also choose our, family dynamics and what we are going to provide for that damn family dynamic. I was the black goat, the black sheep. So I was like the stir of the water.
Yeah.
Um
I think I mean, so was I. I feel like that's a very common experience for people who are spiritually awakening at this time, is to feel like a black sheep at some point in their life,
yep. Oh yes.
which is all part of the process. It's like we had to get uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think the beauty in having that mindset, and not just that mindset, like for me, I know what I've seen thus far with my growth is my truth, with like just elevating, baby. Like, I do believe, I don't want to say, concrete words, but like, we're meant to elevate, we're meant to learn,
Yep.
meant to grow. And when you stay, like, water is not meant to just water doesn't stay fucking still. We're 75% water.
And
Okay.
it evaporates.
and it
And
evaporates.
then condenses and falls back to the ground. It's always in a cycle
Yes.
too. Ooh.
Oh, that's a big one. That's a
Yeah.
big one. Especially like if you're a woman and you have cycles, that's a whole other
Yeah.
level to it.
Because water evaporates because of like adding heat. Heat is
Yes.
what creates the evaporation. And so that makes me think of like friction or like anything in your
Yes.
life that creates friction.
Yes.
And what's happening to your water body when you're feeling like that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And what happens like when you, it's almost like it doesn't seem possible for any human to go through such like discomfort and not grow at the end. But it is
Mhm.
possible.
It is.
It is possible because we have free will in everything. We come down
Mhm.
here, okay? We have free will. Free will, baby. That also means you can stay the fuck where you are
Yeah.
and not choose to grow a centimeter.
Yep.
But also the universe has contracts with you. So if you ain't get your butt moving, the universe will kick your butt for you. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And the reality about the universe is that space is expanding. Like we are in an expanding universe. So
yes,
the to like take that current, if you're gonna ride that current, then you're gonna expand through your life and grow. And um
precisely.
yeah,
Precisely.
yep.
What about you, Morgan? What was your like activation for
Yeah.
your mindset?
Similar to yours, I was knocked down literally literally knocked to the ground. Like my roommate assaulted me and it was just that he threw me on the ground. And I had never been I'd never had an experience like that. I lived in a very like volatile household growing up where I often felt like I could be in a situation like that, but I never was.
Mm,
And so that impacted my nervous system and like all levels of me, my nervous system, my mind, my physical health, like my digestion, everything shattered. Like suddenly I wasn't digesting any food. I was which that was just it impacted all the other aspects of my body and just feelings of being able to live. And so from there, I didn't really know what I was doing. I had already been practicing yoga a little bit, but I knew that I needed to make a change. Like I was inviting very volatile people into my life, which was why I
mm,
got into that situation, was that I was repeating patterns from my childhood
mm,
into my like relationships and my friendships,
yes.
and it wasn't working for me, and I needed a shakeup. So I got the shakeup. I dropped everything that I was doing and I moved to Denver to start a 200-hour yoga teacher training. And I did that training specifically for one vinyasa teacher who I loved. The other person that was running the training was a yoga nidra teacher. So, yoga nidra is a meditation practice, gets you in the subconscious mind, down into theta
Mm,
and delta brain waves.
yeah.
And that teacher and that practice transformed my life. And the next
Wow.
like year of, I would say for a solid year, I was working like 5 to 10 hours a week. If I was working at all, I was working 10 hours a week at maximum. There were months where I wasn't working. And I would go into yoga nidra, like into this state of accessing the subconscious mind for hours a day. Like 3 times a day would be regular for me to lay down for an hour. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even really understand what the practice was, but I just knew that it was doing something amazing for me. Everything in my life was transforming. And I also was in like heavy duty therapy and like EMDR, like rewiring the brain stuff with my therapist, but that practice was like the integration and was also helping to bring like health back into my cells and like on all levels. But I was like reprogramming my brain. It reprogrammed my brain. Um, and Yeah, I also like have a background in math and physics, which is
Yeah, baby.
interesting to bring in. And I never knew why I was studying that stuff, except that my mind like to contemplate bigger picture ideas or like really dial in to look at like subatomic nature of reality.
Right.
But then I got out into the real world and I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna go work for a company.
No. No.
No.
Oh,
And then I real like through like diving into the world of spirituality a little bit and having some like experiences within my body where like the universe just opened up to me. It was like, okay, like this, I started to see how science and spirituality are like pretty closely related or how they're kind of talking about
yes.
the same stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and so that's now I feel like it's a big part of my journey is to continue to educate people about the science aspect and like the reality of things that's producing the spiritual experience. And so I just want to share one other thing is that it's like when you go into the meditative state or you're like in the astral realm and you access like universal intelligence, like space becomes
Yes.
infinite and like
Yes.
you have these experiences that are literally otherworldly. Science or like the science that's being taught in university is not explaining that. They're calling that pseudoscience, fake.
Mm,
Like that's fake. That
yeah.
experience is like not recognized by universities. I mean, there are some that are
Yeah.
studying more like quantum physics and starting to kind of open this portal to these things, but
Right.
I just see that science is catching up to the experience of being connected to the universe. And
Yes.
I just and I can't disregard science because it proves like the validity of a lot of the things that we experience, and
Yes.
also it's not the only answer.
Yes. Thank you. That is
Yeah.
actually such a huge, um, I feel like you can I had a father who represented science. He was science brained, and my mother represented the spiritual goddess. Like she was,
Yes.
that was her world was Reiki. Not that Reiki's the only world where you can be, spiritual, but it was like she was moving shit with her hands.
Yes.
But my father came from this very sciencey brain, and he couldn't understand why or how the fuck my mother was doing this stuff or how it was working and why people were going to her and
Yep.
having these profound experiences. He couldn't understand it. He couldn't grasp it because he thought that science needed to back up whatever she was doing.
Yep.
Um and I've talked about this with my mother. Um my father was so he's so smart. I think he disconnected here and thought it all had to be up here. It all had to be science. It all had to be backed up somehow.
Yeah.
Um and it's like he didn't understand that science and spirituality literally don't exist without the other.
Right. Totally. You can't study the universe without connecting to it.
There it is.
And
Yes.
it is the heart to brain. It is the heart to the brain. And like I'm taking astronomy right now at a university. So I'm like back in like science world and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's all coming from their heads." And it's cool. Like
Yes.
it's all probably relatively correct. There's some stuff that I definitely am questioning, but
Right.
there's not there's no connection to the body and to the
Mm,
heart.
yeah.
And it's so interesting. And then there's all these students who are in class and they're just learning with their brain, like it's
Oh
all just head, brain, 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 brain.
God. It's
And I'm
like,
like, no wonder so many kids are sick, or like got so sick in college and
oh
like,
God.
oh,
It's like, oh, it's a little toxic. I see this like have you ever seen that little like cartoon with like that little tube attached to their little fucking heads and they're like
Yep.
because they're like all this like it's all in here. They're teaching
Yes. And so
here.
it's not wrong. I don't see it as wrong, but I see it as very important right now that we connect our hearts with our heads. And those
Yes.
people that have all of that
Yes.
very powerful knowledge, like let's bring it down and integrate it and feel it and recognize what's actually important,
Yes.
what's not. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
No,
Mhm.
and that see the reason, okay, I'm gonna bring like a little connector person. So
Mhm.
Joe Dispenza
Mhm.
connects these two,
Yes.
connects the science brain with the spirituality embodiment. He fucking brings it to life.
Mhm.
If you've ever done one of his meditations where or even if you've sat down and listened to him talk, he talks about why elevating to these higher to what is it? The delta
Gamma brainwaves.
gamma brainwaves. He talks about the importance of that because of the science that he has found backing it up. He's like
Mhm.
connecting the two and
Yeah.
hand in hand. Like, I mean, you think that, we're sitting here, we're talking about like all this higher dimensional stuff because we're just like a little like woo woo. We're not like, no, we're speaking from divine experience in elevating.
Yeah.
And two, it's like, I don't know about you, Morgan, but like, I feel like my whole body chemistry like changed when I was able to access gamma. It changed because I don't have anxiety. I don't no, I don't my body doesn't have room for that shit anymore. Like you experience fucking divine bliss and universal truth in gamma and then you come back down here on earth and you ain't got time for that shit here on earth that we think is normal. Anxiety
Right.
is not normal.
No. And that's Joe Dispenza's work is like, let's bring people and show them how easily accessible they can get into gamma brainwave states and heal their bodies and clear the cancer and clear the
Yes.
bullshit that's
Yes.
lingering because they're not connected, because we're not connected.
It,
Um,
precisely. Precisely.
yeah. So I feel like that's kind of what we are doing, like why we wanted to start this conversation, like start this channel is like, let's connect. Like, let's share
Yes.
how we connect and also like help others to connect. Because
Yes.
when we're fully connected, then we get to activate and access the blueprint of who we truly are and
Yes.
show up without the anxiety, without the fear, and
Yeah.
in health. Like that's every human being's birthright.
Yes.
Um, it is.
That right there. That's important. I think
Mhm.
that, you need to hear if you come on here watching us that you have a divine contract to get everything that you want and more.
Yep.
Things that you strongly desire from your core. And we're not talking about the egoic desires of pleasure. We're
Mhm.
talking core desires of freedom, of love.
Mhm.
That's not just out of nowhere. You can get exactly that. You just have to take the step forward that feels like you might be going like sometimes
Off the track, off
yes,
the track that
there it
that was
is.
laid down in front of you by your
Yes,
parents, by society, by whoever.
yes. It feels like you might be doing something wrong when you're going towards those core desires of freedom, of love. It might
Mhm.
feel a little wrong. And it feels
Mhm.
wrong because you've been trained a certain way of how to do things.
And because the ego wants you to stay the same in this like limited version of yourself with boundaries. And the soul has
Yes.
no boundaries, knows no boundaries. It's pure infinite space and freedom, which is when you're in that,
It snaps to that.
yeah, you get to access anything. You get to have literally everything in it. And
Yeah.
but it's scary because the ego wants to stay in charge.
Yes. Yep. And don't get me wrong, like they have to work together. Your ego and your soul, they work together. There's
Mm-hmm.
there's just it's your ego is coming from a place of polarity, of
Mm-hmm.
fear, of pleasure, of happiness, what seems right, what they've your ego has been taught, and your soul is coming from a place of I don't give a fuck. This is where like your soul is this infinite expansive non-restrictive energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's who we are.
The
We're
song, this is real, this is me. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Yeah.
yes. Yes. And I saw, this one guy, I can't remember his name, but he was like, you're an eternal being. You're not going anywhere. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why are you in a rush?
Ooh.
No rush.
Mm-mm.
We came here to be here now.
Mm-hmm.
Now. And now.
Mm-hmm.
And now.
Oh, thank gosh. It's just it's such a like, oh, there's no rush. Like when you actually let that sink into your body, it changes everything. And to imagine walking through your day, like remembering that.
It's a game changer. And it's
Mm-hmm.
one thing to hear it, and it's another thing to know it.
Yeah, totally.
We also, I think, um, me and Morgan also want to create a community.
Mm-hmm.
We're creating a community, and I think that is honestly people are like the people that you listen to, the people that you surround yourself with. It does impact you.
Yeah. Whenever somebody comes to me asking for advice, like wanting to begin the spiritual path or like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin, I always say find a teacher. Find a teacher or a guide. Um
Yeah.
and maybe for some people that's like a friend to walk hand in hand with. Like for you and like I feel that way with you.
Yeah.
But beginning in my journey, it was like the teachers, I mean, I found them, they found me. Like I've always had a core teacher
Yeah.
who just like spews these teachings. They're not theirs, they're like the universe's, but you need to find somebody who's like anchored and who you see and like you can see yourself in
Yes.
and who
That's
continues to
important.
inspire you too.
Yes. Because
Hmm.
that is ultimately, we'll say this again, that's the language of the universe is to learn, is to
Hmm.
grow. And it also, one thing that was good coming from school is the part and where you are learning from someone. We
Hmm.
learn from everyone. We are students and teachers. But when you're
Hmm.
going through, and I would say not but and when you're going through an intense spiritual awakening where your core is shaking, you don't know where the fuck to go because everything seems wrong when it was right. Now it's like it's changing for you. We need people to
Hmm.
help us along the way, and I do say need. I say need because support and community is needed. we're not
Absolutely.
we're not these individualistic beings that are, we can do it ourselves. Like I can do it alone, which is yes, you can.
Hmm.
Like you can listen, you want a girl boss or guy boss? go for it 100%. You have free will to do so, but I'm just saying we are like we are from our core, we are not individualistic.
No.
And we do need people to help us along the way.
Yeah, we couldn't survive alone. Like we couldn't feed ourselves, put shelter over our heads, do
Yeah.
the work, like
Yep.
recreate, reproduce, like we're meant to be together.
Yeah. Literally. Literally. And
Yeah.
there's a sense of security and fulfillment when you find the right people to continually surround yourself with.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
there's no like it's like there's no support like for me like when you came into my life, it was like, oh my God, what where the oh my God, like I can start like, like I just felt like support like no other.
Yeah.
It was
Same.
like my soul was activated. It was like, oh fuck yeah, let's go. Let's fucking go.
Yeah,
And
we'll get to that story later.
oh yeah, that's
How we met.
yeah. And what and literally what happened in the second day after meeting you with the whole Healy, that was
Yeah, we'll
fun.
get there. So we're here to connect. We're here to create community. We're here to share
Yes.
and
And
just
this
be and quit rushing.
yes, and this platform is just for you to feel support in.
Yeah.
We're here to validate everything that you've been feeling, but not necessarily like having the people around you to support those feelings.
Yeah. And a beautiful thing about the internet and like all of these online platforms now is that there's no limit to how many people we can connect with and um how many like across space and across time we can connect, which is just incredible. It's
Yes,
so exciting.
it truly is.
Yeah. Okay. You feel complete?
Oh yeah, I feel
Okay.
complete,
We'll
baby.
be back. We'll be back soon. Woohoo! Bye, Gracie.
Bye, Morgan.